Have you been looking for a ductless controller that's intuitive, voice-controlled, and has smart home capabilities? Welcome to the Daikin One Thermostat. Hi, I'm Eric Schmidt with Distributors, one of Daikin's premier ductless and VRV suppliers in the Pacific Northwest. And today I'm here to talk about some of the features of the new Daikin One thermostat, and then our in-house service technician Jeff Statz will walk through a full install, setup, and commissioning. Let's run through some of the key features of the new Daikin One thermostat. It comes with a high-resolution touch display that's also paired with a large temperature dial for precise adjustment. It has built-in temperature and humidity sensors, along with 4 standard modes of operation. It also has the capability to schedule up to 4 events per day, as well as an adjustable hold function. It comes Wi-Fi enabled for use with any smartphone via the Daikin app, and has built-in Bluetooth capabilities for future accessories from Daikin. The geofencing feature enables a device to detect when the homeowner is arriving or leaving for the day, and is compatible with voice control for use with Amazon Alexa or Google Assistant. A new and helpful feature for service technicians is the error codes will be displayed in a plain text format on the screen, along with the option to set maintenance reminders for when to change the filters. Now that we've ran through some of the key features and benefits, I'm going to pass it over to Jeff Statz for a full walkthrough on install, setup, and commissioning.
Hi, I'm Jeff Statz, the Distributor Service Coordinator with Distributors, or commonly known as the Tech Guy. Today we're going to go over the installation of the new Daikin One thermostat, which includes the mounting and wiring, as well as the installer setup and programming. After that, we'll dive into the Wi-Fi setup that will enable the unit to be programmed and controlled using smart devices. So let's go ahead and get started. So this is the new Daikin One kit. The thermostat and everything you need are inside for a decent installation. What we have that comes in the kit, we have our translator mounting plate with the double-sided tape if needed, as well as the translator with the pre-wired harness for line voltage. We have the translator cover. We have the S21 cable between the translator and the S21 plug on the circuit board. So it does have to have an S21 on the circuit board itself. The thermostat and the subbase for the thermostat, which has a nice little level in it, as well as the install instructions for the translator and the thermostat. So today, I am going to go ahead and mount this Daikin One thermostat on our existing home display unit. And we're going to go ahead and do the basic installation of the translator, the thermostat, and the control wires to give you a better understanding of how this goes together. Now, those of you that are used to the old Envy thermostat, it too had a translator as such. Not quite this one, but very similar. So it's the same type of installation. In my particular case, for this unit, I'm going to mount the translator on the left side exposed. If you have a cavity space that you can use, you're not running a line set, you're running it directly out of the unit, as opposed to running it through the back of the cavity. You can install this behind the unit, you just can't put the cover on. So that's something to be aware of. One thing we can do with this double-sided tape is we could actually mount the mounting plate to the side of the unit and be able to remove the translator off of the mounting plate so we can remove the cabinet. As well as you can mount it left side, right side. You could even mount it on top in such a fashion you can route the wires into the side of the unit. Do be aware, these wires do have to get into the unit. Some units don't have knockouts. We have to rethink what we would do in that particular case. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and start the installation, and we will see how this all comes together. We're going to go ahead and start the installation. Obviously, the first thing we start with, remove the cover. Now we're going to mount the translator, and this is the location that I have chosen. I do not need the double-sided tape. I'm going to mount this with screws. You will notice that I did mark the mounting plate with a T, so I know which one is top. Using the screws that Daikin provides, we are going to go ahead and install the plate. With the plate being installed, we then will take the translator and it will snap onto the mounting plate. 2 hooks in the bottom, 1 snap on top. Start the bottom first, snap into place. Pretty easy install. Next, we will take the S21 cable. We will plug it into the translator itself. And it just slides in from the top and snaps into place. We're then going to route this down the channel of the translator. They've got a knockout for this S21 wire to make a nice clean look as you come out the bottom of the cover. At this time, I'm going to go ahead and route these wires through the bottom of the cavity, and I'm going to route them out. One of the line voltage I'm going to send through the electrical knockout, which everybody should know where that is, the standard electrical knockout, which I will then connect to line 1 and 2 and ground. And then I'm going to chase this S21 cable. I have a pre-designated area I would like to share with you all to let you know what looks the best. So with that, you're always best off to pop the unit loose, just so you've got a little more working room. I am then going to take these wires, shove them through the unit. All right, so we have our line voltage through. Now we have to get our S21 cable. Okay, so we've got our S21 cable. With the LVs, we've actually got a little channel we can use when we follow the swing motor cable. We can swing it up through the wire, through the channel, right over the top of the existing plugs for the fan motor and the swing motor. We need to remove the cover to the circuit board. And I'm going to bring this actually all the way where I need it to go, loop through above the line voltage, and you will see the S21 plug down near the bottom of the circuit board. Now, different units could be in different locations, but what you will see is there is an S21 marking on the circuit board to tell you that is the right plug. Once I'm in, I'm going to start snaking this wire back. through the existing loops that the unit has. Down through here. Following the wiring to the swing motor. And then right between the swing motor and the electrical housing, there's a little space that you can tuck that wire in. And as you can see, the S21 wire is connected. In this particular case, it's going to be just about right for the knockout of the cover. So I want to leave a little bit of slack so I can do that. Line voltage, I am going to use the existing hole that is for the line voltage in. Hopefully you've got a chase nipple there so you've got enough room that you can run 2 wires through it, such as I do. We are then going to chase this wire following the existing line voltage. We're going to remove the bracket that holds the wire and secure the line voltage with that. So there you have it. I'm going to tuck this wire in here and try to hide it as best I can. There's not a lot of room in here when you've got an existing line set, but we should be able to get the majority of it stuffed back in there. And if you can't, we can actually pull it to the module and put a tie on it. This is probably where we're going to go. When you have the line set running through the unit, there is not a whole lot of room just to put a bunch of wiring in it. With the line voltage, you see that we have a black, a white, and a green. So obviously I'm going to go 1, 2, and ground on my connections. I'm going to make black line 1. I am going to make white line 2 and green to ground. So we have our connection into the indoor unit, our line voltage from the translator, and our S21 connection from the translator to the circuit board. Obviously, we are going to have to notch our cover so we can get the wires to exit nice and clean at the bottom of the unit. At this time, we need to run our thermostat wire, which will be an 18-4 stranded, non-shielded wire. Now, as you get ready to run the control wire, you can go up to 125 feet from the thermostat to the translator. But obviously that means you've got to snake some wires through some walls. Obviously something you would want to do during the installation when you had the unit off the wall, so you can find a good way, a good path to take that wire if you have to take it up through a wall or if you have to run it exposed, etc. In my case, I'm going to mount the control over where the wireless remote is. So I am going to remove the wireless remote, which, when the Daikin One thermostat is installed, the wireless controller is useless. I would save it, but you won't be able to use it in conjunction with the thermostat. So I've already got a wire set up in the back of this unit as if it was a wall cavity. And like I said, I have two number 18 2 wires that I'm going to use. I'm going to mark one with a pin so I know that which one I'm going to use for the 24 volts and which one's going to be for data, the D1, D2. We will then, I'm going to run it through the existing line set hole through the wall and make my connection into the unit. Now, as you noticed, I've already used that track for the S21 wire. I'm going to have to actually bring this one to the top of the module and feed my 1, 2, 3, and 4 control wire settings to the actual connector. Now, what you will notice about these connectors is you can remove them so you can make your wire connections. If you have small enough fingers to pull them off, the actual terminal block will remove so you can make your connections without having to articulate yourself in any way that you may not need to be able to do. So I'm just going to loop this up, figure out where I need to be, make my cut, tie in my control wires, and plug it in. So with the wires stripped, we're going to go ahead and make our connection to the translator. There again, I use two 18-2 stranded non-shielded wires. I have marked one of the wires to be my 24 volt power on each end. You will see the terminal strip is marked R, C, D2, D1. R and C being our 24 volt power, which is the cable that I have marked. Mind you, you have to wind these wires relatively tight to get them into the holes of the connector. There's our R and C. Now going to make the D1, D2 connection. There again, wrap them tight. We don't want any wires not in the connector itself. I'm going to make D2 as red, and D1 will be the black. There again, tight, tight. Okay, we've got the wiring completed now. We've got our wiring to our thermostat itself. We've got the wiring to the S21 plug, and we got our line voltage into the unit and wired up. I got these wired tied right here at the base so that when I take my notch out of my cover, it fits nice and snug and looks uniform. So we're going to go ahead and button up our control box. Control box cover is on. One thing I want to mention, look where I routed this S21 cable. There again, alongside the swing motors, up through the cable loops, up along the line voltage, into the box for the S1 connection. Now with all of that done, we can go ahead and put our cover on. And it looks pretty good. Cables are tight through the cover. We're snapped on at top. Screw holes are lining up. We're looking pretty good. So at this point, before I fasten everything solid, I want to go ahead and put power to this thing and make sure that we've got power to the translator. Now at this time, we might as well go ahead, mount the thermostat. It's a nice fitting. All it does is go into the perforations around the thermostat. Pull off the film. We have power. You can see this little bar loading up. When that's complete, it'll be ready to program. Now remember, as we talk about the programming, it is a step-by-step process. It will walk you through the installer setup from start to finish as far as what needs to be done to get it operational. This time, we are in. It says, welcome. Let's go ahead and do our setup. Well, now that we're wired and we've got power to the thermostat, we will start to go through the configuration mode for the installer setup. The first thing you're going to notice is it says, welcome. Go ahead and choose your language, which we are going to make sure we're on English. We are going to use the larger font. And once we've done that, let's continue to the next page. We're going to set up the equipment type. It comes from the factory in the unitary selection. We're going to pick the single multi-split S21 connector. Now when we do this, it is going to find it. So this takes up to 2 to 3 minutes. So we're going to take a pause here until we get it established. So the equipment has been identified. We see that the circulating circle is gone. We have our S21 plug has been highlighted. Once we have that, we will continue to the next screen, and we are going to begin our setup. These are the 5 things that we are going to be addressing: communication, personalization, equipment setup, system optimization, and preferences. So we will start with our communication. It's going to show us that we are a S21 equipment type, and this is where we will set up our Wi-Fi. Currently, we are disconnected. We will go through that after this procedure in detail. Once we get to this, we will push the next step. It shows our English, shows we are using large font. We've got our time and day, which we will need to program. We will highlight that. We will scroll to the month and days that we need. Okay, we're our time zones. We have to set our time zone as well. We are set for Pacific, so we should be good to go. We will back up our screen. The next thing we'll do is device name. Right now we are currently main room. That is what I'm going to leave it, but we have a variety of others that we can do: kitchen, bathroom, hallway, etc. We are then going to check our degrees units. We are in Fahrenheit. And let's go to the next step. We are now searching for the equipment again. It's going to try to ID the indoor and outdoors. Now what I normally will do is I will just input our model number. We are an FTXS. Gotta scroll down. Select our FTXS. What size are we? We are a 9. I will then back up. Back up model. There's our indoor unit. Now we can add the serial number if we choose to. It is not necessary. We'll back that up. Let's go to our outdoor unit. Our model number. RXS LV series. We are a 9. Once we've set that, we can back to the main screen. There again, we can add the serial number with this as well. Back out, go back to equipment setup. Let's look at our filter setup. It says we have a standard filter, 1 or 2. We have 2 in the wall unit. Back up. And add equipment. So this is for future things. If you wanted to add a future air quality sensor, a filter box, and a HEPA filter, we would add these, and these would come up as reminders or asked to be reminded for serviceability. Back out of add equipment, and we will go to the next step. That's system optimization. So we can check our error history, which I always do, and I always start with a clear history. We will permanently delete. No errors at this time. And then back up. Calibration. If you notice a difference between actual temp and display temp, we can make internal calibrations to get these sensors right on as they need be. That works as well for the humidity as well. Back up. So we've done communication, personalization, equipment setup, system optimization, and we are now going to preferences. So heat, cool. These are min-max set points. I suggest we leave them factory set. It gives us a larger range if we need to do a dual point with a big separation. We can raise them up and down and be able to make it function correctly. Dead band. We are going to change our dead band to 2 degrees. It's a real nice feature, being able to get that down as close as possible. It is adjustable from 2 to 10 degrees. This is the dead band for the reversing valve changeover from heating to cooling. And our changeover settings. Now this feature here works with that dead band. So we can it will make the changeover once it is 1 degree past its set point. But then what happens is it will start a timer. Once that timer expires, it will make the reversing valve change. So we can make that timer anywhere from 15 minutes to an hour. I always suggest the 15-minute mark. And then there's one other function, the force changeover differential. So if we've already exceeded 1 degree past set point to change the reversing valve, and then we set a timer on top of that, if the temperature increases or decreases by 1 more degree, it will override the timer and start the function. That's our heat and cool. We'll now go to house settings. This is what size is the house? What's the square footage? Let's just go and set it at 1,500. How about 1,600? And we will then look at dealer information. This is where you will input all of your dealer information, name, phone number, email, website, messaging, etc. And reminders. What do you want to be reminded of? Media filter or just regular filter. Let's go ahead and turn that on and set that for basically 3 months. And service reminders. It's in the off mode. We'll go ahead and set this up for 12 months. Back out of reminders. That takes care of our preferences. Let's go ahead and do the next step. And it shows all 5 of our setups have a green check mark. That means we've done all of the inputting that we need to do. Let's go to complete the setup. And we will hit continue. And we should get a main display. We have a communication error, but we had this last time. We had to restart the unit. So we've done our installer setup. Now we'll go through the main menu to set up for the homeowner. We'll go to settings, and this is all of our settings. System mode. This is the off, heat, cool, and auto function. We would normally go to our auto so that we can have the auto changeover as well. Back out of system mode. Let's go to display. That should tell us what we've currently got set up that we inputted during the installer setup. We will then go to schedule. So on this schedule setup, we can see they have schedule templates. So we can go ahead and hit schedule templates, and it basically gives us three: the basic, the 9 to 5 work week, or the early to rise. So let's go to the 9 to 5 work week. So we have four functions within the schedule. So morning, afternoon, evening, and sleep. You can leave those as the event, or you can actually change them to awake, leave, return, and sleep like other manufacturers do. If we choose to use these set points, in the morning it says 5 a.m. to 12 p.m. We would probably change that, which we will show how we're going to do that. This is what the template looks like when you hit the template look. We are going to back out. This isn't where we're going to make our set point changes. We're going to go ahead and load the template, continue. We have to go to schedule first and turn the schedule on. We will then hit edit schedule. Now we can go ahead and make our changes. So 5 a.m., let's make it 5:30. Back out. We'll leave it as morning. The action will be setting temperatures. And our temperature settings will actually rise this up. And there again, remember, we got a 2-degree differential. So we can actually put these together and go 71 to 73. Now, just because we have a 2-degree differential doesn't mean we have to use it. I can separate these as needed, pull down the heat, you scroll it down, and we can pull down the cooling. Let's set that for 75. Let's set our heat for 70. And now we're set. So we got a 5-degree differential for the morning event. Go ahead and back up. And we're going to save this setting. Now we'll go to afternoon. We want to change that time to probably 7:30. Nope, and we're getting action here. We're going to go ahead and we want to set our temperatures. This is while you're away, so we're going to raise this up, drag it up to 80, and we'll take our heating down to 64. That's complete. We're going to save that function. So you will do the same for afternoon and sleep. Set your time frame and then set your temperature. That will take care of our scheduling. And we've actually started the unit because we turned our schedule on. So now I'm going to actually go ahead and switch it off just to make sure the unit shuts off. Then go back. The right corner of the screen is your setup mode. We back out of schedule. We edited schedule, settings. We're going to go directly to settings. That was our schedule. our away mode. So what this is where, do you want to use geofencing or not? If you do end up using geofencing, we will set an away temp, a minimum heat, minimum or max cool, so that when you get out of the range of your geofencing, it will automatically go into an offset mode. That is the away mode. Our comfort mode. This will give us our target humidity. So it'll tell us what our range are if we are doing humidification. There again, that is a feature that is not readily available for the mini splits. That is for the unitary equipment. Even though it does have a humidity sensor in here, and it does ask what is your target humidity. The next thing, air quality. So this is where you're going to find your fan settings. This is for heating and cooling, as well as the louver action. In this case, cooling speed is low. Vertical louvers are fixed in cooling. The horizontal louvers are fixed in cooling. That is fine, but I am going to change my fan speed to auto. I would suggest you do the same. Then we have our heating fan speed. It asks the same thing. What fan speed do you want, and what do you want your vertical blades to be fixed or oscillate? Same with the horizontals. We're going to go ahead and change our heating speed to auto as well. Once we're done, we will back out of that screen, back to our settings, and now we will go to the utility demand response. So this has built-in ability for the utilities to cut your temps up or down as they need, depending on the load of the grid. So this is something you would have to program with the utilities to be able to utilize that function. Next, configuration. So this is another series of settings. This would be the account. When you get set up with your smartphone through the App Store, we will ask for an account number, which we will fill in. They'll give you a code that you will input into this screen. Dealer. So this is the ability for the homeowner to give the dealer the ability to access it remotely. So if a homeowner calls you and says, we have a fault, you could actually access through the web and be able to see what's going on and what the fault could be. Date and time. This is basically our settings we just made today. And I believe today is the 11th, is it not? Messages. So we can actually do either the critical messages, we can do service reminders, we can do educational messages, which I'm not quite sure what that is. But remember, once we're connected to the web, there will be periodic updates that will automatically be inputted into the thermostat. So you will be as current with what's out there as possible. Now let's go to system components. So first thing, thermostat. The one thing we will want to jot down is the last 4 digits in letters on our Wi-Fi address. Once we exit this programming, you will not be able to get back into the initial configuration mode, the installer config mode, unless you have those 4 numbers or letters. In this case, it's 725E. Outdoor tells us what our outdoor unit is. Indoor, same thing, indoor unit model. Air quality, what have we set our air quality? There it is, media filtration. and the reminders. So it says right now we've got a reminder of a 3-month filter cleaning or changing. Okay, system components, home Wi-Fi. This will be where you will start setting up the Wi-Fi. We will address that shortly. And dealer edit. So there again, this is the method that you would need to get back into the installer configuration mode or the installer setup. And there is that 4 blocks for the 4 digits, the last 4 digits and letters on the Wi-Fi address. That is the actual code to access that function. And there again, that will take you back to the original installer setup. So as we look at everything, we've gone through most of all our basic setups. As we exit our configurations, which then gets us back to our settings screen, we back out a settings screen. Once we basically, there's our schedule. Down on the bottom of the control, you will see 5 emblems, 5 different settings. The farthest one is home. That's your basic screen display. We can go through those. The one in the middle, that basically shows you what your current schedule is. The little leaf, this is your away zone. So this is the function when you are geofencing. These are the set points that you will have in here. You can make your adjustments. Currently, I have it set for 62 and 82. We hit the away, we see it says away off. We can go ahead and turn that on, and then we will back out. Next, air quality. So it tells us what our filter percentage is. It tells us what the indoor temp, so we can actually verify what the display is seeing. And this is another way to get into your fan speeds and your louver functions. Once we've gone through all of that, all we have to do is hit the home button on the far left, takes us back to main screen, and we are now able to operate. Now, one of the nice features of this, if you currently have a schedule set, which we can check by highlighting schedule, let's go ahead and turn it on. We'll back out, go to home screen, and if I want to increase the temp over and beyond what my schedule may be set at, I can start spinning the dial. Do it fairly slow so you don't over-ramp it. And as you can see, I'm raising both set points. My heating, my cooling. And it's keeping the same differential that I gave it originally. So I'm between set points now. This thing should shut off. And when you want to change those settings, there again, go to your, shows a leaf. Hit the away. We can actually turn that off. We can turn it on. And one of the nice things that they have in these, if you're not sure what that function is, hit the Learn More button. Actually gives you a breakdown of what happens. More, and it's got more topics if you want to continue on with other things as well. We'll go straight to our home screen. And that's basically our setup. This is, obviously you would need to get the information from the homeowner so you could set schedules, but and at that time it would be good to go over it with them to show them how to make the adjustments, etc. So with that being said, there's our basic setup. Not too difficult. Remember that the configuration, the installer setup, will walk you through once you put power to the thermostat. Once you've done your installer setup, go to settings, make all the appropriate changes. I always go through anyway, hit every button, see what it does. Learn the thermostat. It's got some really nice features, and I'm sure the homeowners and yourself will enjoy using these.
Introducing the Daikin One Plus Smart Thermostat. In this video, you are going to learn how to set up a Daikin One cloud account and connect your Daikin One Plus to your account so you can control your thermostat remotely. Begin by downloading the app from your respective app store. Search for Daikin One Home. Once installed, launch the app. At the bottom of the screen, there is a link to create a new account. Once you press on the link, you'll be taken to this screen. After you have read through the terms of services, press I agree to continue. On this screen, you will input your account details. Input your name, email address, and finally, choose a password based on the requirements you see on the screen. Once you have completed this, press Next Step. Now we will email you a confirmation code to verify your email address. There it is. Let me get the code. My personal code is 390824. Now go back to the Daikin One Home app and input your personal code. Once you have completed this, you will see this pop-up message confirming your account was created. Tap OK, and then Next Step. Input your email address and password. When finished, press the Login button. On this screen, you will input your location information for your home. For this example, I will use my name, then the street address, finally, the zip code. Once you have completed this, press Next Step. Now you are going to connect your thermostat to your Daikin One cloud account. To create the code for this screen, go to your thermostat and press the menu button. Then press Settings, Configuration, and select the account option. Input this code into the Daikin One Home app. Press OK. You will see this pop-up message letting you know the connection is successful. Press OK and select your thermostat. You can now control your thermostat remotely. Your Daikin One Plus will display this message to confirm that it is now linked to your account. Press the dial to return home. Introducing the Daikin One Plus Smart Thermostat. In this video, you will learn how to connect the Daikin One Plus Smart Thermostat to your Wi-Fi network. Start by pressing the menu icon in the top right-hand corner of the touchscreen. Select Settings, and then press Configuration. Now press Home Wi-Fi. Make sure the Use Wi-Fi option box is checked, and then press Networks. Find the network you want to use and select it. Now input your Wi-Fi password using the on-screen keyboard. When finished, press Done. Wait a few moments while the Daikin One Plus connects to the Wi-Fi network. Once it is connected, you will see the name of your network appear on the screen. Press the dial to return home. your thermostat is now connected to your Wi-Fi network. Introducing the Daikin One Plus Smart Thermostat. In this video, we are going to learn how to enable and activate the geofencing feature on the Daikin One Plus Smart Thermostat. Start by launching the Daikin One Home app. Then press Home in the top left-hand corner. Press Location Settings. To use geofencing, enable it by turning the geofencing toggle on. Next, press Geofence Range. On this screen, you can create the range you need to travel before away mode is enabled. Select and move the blue dot in or out to find your desired range. About 4 miles is good for me. When you are finished, press the back arrow to return to the previous screen. Now let's enable geofencing on the thermostat. Press back and select your desired thermostat. Press the Away icon to enter the Away screen. Now press the menu at the top right corner, press Settings, press Away, and finally, press Use Geofencing.
So let's talk compatibility. What can we connect to the new Daikin One thermostat? So with the multi-ports, which include the MXS and the MXLs, most of the indoor heads are compatible. For the one-in-ones, we got the 19 SEER FTX AX. Then we can go ahead and use them with the LV, the Amira, the floor-mounted unit, and the FDXS Slim Duct. Now, those of you that have the FTX NM series, there is an interface available to make that connection. So, units that we cannot connect at this time, the FFQ cassette and the FDMQ Slim Duct. Those have the P1, P2 terminals. In the future, we'll be able to connect to the P1, P2s off your existing thermostat, and that will be available for the VRV and the Sky Air.
As you can see, the Daikin One Plus Smart Thermostat brings forward-thinking innovation to you and your customer by combining proven Daikin reliability with state-of-the-art technology. Now that's air intelligence.